When you work with leader, just to give everyone a perspective, when you work with leader, what does the process look like?
If someone doesn't know me, I do start with a 30-minute complimentary coaching session so we can have an opportunity to see if we're a good fit. I'm different than a lot of coaches. I'm a master somatic coach, so I do work with and through the body and looking at what are our survival habits that we are doing that produce action and behavior, and how can we appreciate those, but then also recover to a state of thriving.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the iWillain podcast. Our topic for today is Deeper Than That with Suzanne Roberts on stillness, storytelling, and the inner journey. We'll talk about the importance of disconnecting to reconnect, how to search inward when something is missing, and why your mind could be your greatest ally or your fiercest critic. Suzanne share wisdom on cultivating presence, tuning in to energy, and embracing the deeper layer of your stories. Whether you're a leader, creative, or seeker, this conversation will inspire you to pause, reflect, and go beneath the surface. Welcome, Suzanne.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Will. I'm very excited to be here with you.
Likewise, let's kick it off with a quick introduction.
Sounds great. I'm Suzanne Roberts. I've had my own business, Unifying Solutions, for over 50 years as a coach and consultant. I'm an author of the book It's Deeper Than That, which is premiering with the documentary October 15th. I'm a facilitator and a speaker, and I've done multiple kinds of work in the world for a very long time. So thank you very much.
Wow, let's start with the first question. You mentioned about your book. Your latest book, Deeper Than That, invites reader into a layer of intimate exploration of self and story. What does going deeper means to you, and how does it show up in your writing, your travel, and your personal growth?
That's such an interesting question. It's Deeper Than That came alive for me when I took my first polarity class, because I thought polarity was about health and healing, and I went to my first class and asked my teacher, could you help me with my neck? Because, I don't know if you have any aches in your body anywhere, but I certainly did. And he looked at me and he goes, it's deeper than that. And I'm like, what's deeper than my neck? I want you to fix my neck, right? And I'm like, so what's deeper? And he started teaching about a wireless energy system that's inside of us that we don't design, but operates on our own behalf, and actually gives us the very gift of life itself that lets our heart beat and lets us breathe. And I was like, well, I want to know what the deeper than that is then. If it's inside of me, I don't really know anything about it. And I wanted to learn. And I love physics and being in labs with chemistry and physics. So I thought, well, this is another laboratory. I can do some exploring inside of myself and see if what he's saying is true. Is there really an energy current inside of me? So there you have that.
Well, it's one thing to want to learn something, but it's another thing to want to share it with the world. What motivates you to share it with the world?
We are asking a really great question, Will. Working with leaders, I have so many leaders talk to me. They'll say things like, I feel like I've lost touch with my soul, or I feel like I'm just sitting and waiting for the shoe to drop, or I feel disconnected, or I'm burnt out, or I'm exhausted. And just hearing how many people are suffering in the world when I know there's access to this self-renewing energy inside made me want to make sure anybody globally that feels like something's missing, or that they're hungering for something more than what they're producing in the world, or their level of exhaustion, or whatever it is, I want them to know about a pathway where you can have direct access to your deepest self and to this self-renewing energy.
Well, that's leading to our next question, right? Many leaders, as you said, are feeling burnout and overwhelmed. How important is it to intentionally disconnect? Because many leaders don't think that make any sense to disconnect, right? And how does it serve as a catalyst for them to reconnect and achieve their truest self?
Well, I think can be talked about in two different ways right now. I think people are already disconnected and need to reconnect. So I think the question is the question about, is it important to pause and disconnect from the habits that cause you exhaustion? But when you're producing actions that cause you exhaustion, you're already disconnected. You've already lost touch with yourself. And I hear so many people talk about hustle culture or producing or performing. And the latest research I saw was in Forbes. 66% of the workforce reports burnout. If you're spending the bulk of your life and time, why are you doing it exhausted and burnt out? For who or for what? What do you think about that, Will?
It's true. I had experienced that myself when I was in the corporate world. What you said about hassle culture, it's real. It's what most of the leader believe as the thing to do. As you move up, you just end up with less and less time. And why do you, why do you keep on doing that when it's really not serving you at the end of the day?
It's so true. I heard someone that was an interim CEO. She came in, and I had been working with this team. So I was there when she was transitioning as the interim. And I remember her saying this to the team: "You all are here because you're high producers. I won't know when to stop you until you give me your red flag. I'll keep asking. I know you have to tell me your limit." And I was like, first of all, I was so excited to hear a leader say that, because when we get results, we ask for more results. And then it feels like, oh my God, I have to produce or I'm failing. And who cares if my health suffers or if I don't have time for me or my family or my health? And, none of that's worth it. Why would we miss this incredible life energy that's inside of us, that's giving us the gift of life, to produce what? For what purpose? And that's what I think. But I do think we need to shift out of the habits that we're in to make a difference. If we don't pause, if we don't give ourselves a little bit of space to reflect and review, is this behavior life-giving or life-taking? And what do I want to consciously choose?
I think that's super powerful for the way you stated life giving or life taking. Because when you said it that way, it's very profound. It's
Mhm.
more connected to you because now you feel like it's a giving or taking, right? When you work with leader, just to give everyone a perspective, when you work with leader, what does a process look like?
Well, if someone doesn't know me, I do start with a 30-minute complimentary coaching session so we can have an opportunity to see if we're a good fit. I'm different than a lot of coaches. I'm a master somatic coach, so I do work with and through the body and looking at what are our survival habits that we are doing that produce action and behavior, and how can we appreciate those, but then also recover to a state of thriving. So some people don't even know what thriving means. I also require all my coaching clients to have some kind of mindfulness or sitting practice for the sake of pausing, for the sake of learning to regulate your own nervous system and to become mindful of choices so we're not just reacting all the time. I also bring in a, a way to look at how do social systems shape who you are as a leader. And when I say social systems, what I'm talking about is what are the intersecting forms of dominance and oppression that shape our cultures, that shape us as human beings. And I'm going to use a word that's hard for people to hear, but white supremacy. And that's not about white people, but is how does white supremacy operate? And then we're looking at race, we're looking at gender, we're looking at religion, and we're looking at wealth, or I would say class, to look at where are our biases and how have we been shaped to not be the truth of who we are because we've socialized to conform. And people find that the most vital part of their coaching because the way social systems impact us, it's less visible than we can understand, but also has a deep hold on us. And people feel freed up after that. And I also say that they're able to see talent around them differently because they're not looking through the lenses they've been socialized to, look through. And so they promote differently. They build talent differently. They build inclusive teams differently when they do that kind of work. And that's important to me.
One of the things that you mentioned, I just want to clarify. You mentioned you're a master semantic coach.
Yes.
Not only even for myself. Can you clarify what it meant?
Oh, sure.
This way, we understand it better.
Yeah, I trained at Strozzi Institute. And when we say somatic, what we're saying is that we have behaviors and actions that we can observe in our body self that maybe don't reflect the truth of who we are. And also, there are practices we can do to shift our behavior and actions. So I would say I was working with a male client who was very high up in an organization, and he had gotten feedback that he was gruff and off-putting. And he's honestly one of the sweetest, kindest people I know. But when we did some somatic work and we observed what was he doing in his body, he had learned to survive a very difficult childhood by going like this, bracing and pushing forward. So even though he's kind, he was communicating something that was off-putting. And so we worked on him appreciating that he did that to survive, but now he could leave with his kindness showing through him and still be skillful and produce results. So we worked on him softening in his chest, breathing, feeling his back, and then talking, and people found him very, very different. It wasn't that he changed his words. He changed the way he was inside of himself and his body. So that is one of the ways that we could look at somatic coaching.
Wow, that's so impactful. And as I listen to you, it's like even going through your life and uncovering those facts and then sort of rediscovering yourself, right? And moving
Yes.
forward. Wow, that's it really, really very impactful. And I'm glad a lot of our audience are listening to it. When you work with people and you often work with people often captures the invisible energy. What does that mean? That there's an invisible energy in us.
Well, Will, if you were to go turn your light off right now and turn it back on, do you know? Yeah, yeah. Do you know what made that light turn back on?
Electricity
Where's the electricity coming from?
from the power source,
But what's the power source connected to?
power grid. I'm sorry, I'm giving you like
No, but that's what I'm saying, right? So we turn the light on without thinking, right? We don't go, is it solar? Is it wind? Is it cool? We just turn the light on. Well, think about it this way, Will. When you die, your heart stops beating, doesn't it?
yes, yep.
Well, when you die, what happens? The energy current, what we could call your soul, leaves the body. So that energy withdraws from the body. We call it death, and your heart stops beating. We don't think about while that energy's in our body, we don't think about the current or what source it's connected to either. Our heart beats, we breathe, we just sort of take it for granted, just like turning on the light. The truth of the matter is our heart cannot beat without this vital energy inside of us. And how does it operate inside of us? Well, it has to operate just like a battery. A battery has two poles. We have many poles inside of us, but the primary poles we could say are your soul consciousness, which is your vital energy. And then there's the material world, your body, your form. And there's energy running between the two. And just like a battery needs a liquid medium, The way energy runs in our body through these poles is through our cerebral spinal fluid. And your soul is a drop of I call it the source of life for all of creation. Or you could say your soul is a drop of the eternal ocean of love, or whatever you want to call it. But our soul is not operating independently of a source. So we have inside of us a source of energy that's been given to us from the source of life for all of creation. And it's pulsing inside our cerebral spinal fluid and letting our heart beat and letting us breathe. That is the deeper than that I started investigating. I'm like, if there's energy inside of me, I want to know it. Why not? If that's truly who I am underneath all the surface, why not know what's inside of me? And that's what I've spent the last over 50 years dedicating myself, is studying that energy within me and letting it guide me, letting it teach me, becoming humbled to it and evolving with it.
And that's truly truly deep.
It is, isn't it?
It is. It is. It is so profound the way you describe the transformation that your client could have. As you mentioned, what you do with your client is you start with a 30-minute coaching to see there's chemistry. In your experience, what are the type of clients that are not the right clients for you? And what are the type of clients that are the right clients for you? So this way, when people listening to this episode, they're like, I want to work with Suzanne because I have those characteristics.
Most people that come to me, whatever they're struggling with, they're tired of. Like their pain has cost them too much or their discomfort, and they're really ready for a change. So I would say people that work with me are ready for something different, because I work people. We don't just sit and chat. I mean, like, I have a new client. She said, God, I've been coached so many times, but nobody's really asked me to do what you're asking of me. And it's producing changes. So I see what's possible for somebody and help them get there. And they do have to practice and they do have to engage. So if you really want to change, I'm great to work with.
Well, I love the fact that you said the right person is the person who's ready to change.
Yes.
That's truly impactful statements. Whoever out there, you listen to this episode, you have this energy in you that really guides your life. And if you feel like you're ready to change, Suzanne is the right person.
Thank you. Thank you, Will. Thank you.
I want to ask a follow-up question because you mentioned meditation, right? That's one of the things that's important. Has meditation, or there's another term called contemplative practice, played in the role in your journey?
Absolutely. When over 50 years ago, when I learned about this energy source inside of me, I did start practicing, a sitting practice or mindfulness, because the only way I was going to able to determine if there was really an energy inside of me was to quiet myself and get still in some kind of way. So I started a sitting practice many, many, many years ago, and I honestly don't know how people live without one. So it's so life-giving, and it gives us the practice of pausing and considering and listening and being present with ourselves and being present with other people, and I think we all deserve that.
I think I love the especially the last two phrases that you mentioned, being present with yourself and present with other people, because truly that's the best gift you can give. Is
Right.
being present, not just for yourself, but to other people, because in our hustle of society, that's often forgotten.
Yes, that's
When
true.
we're talking, I'm listening to respond. As you were talking, I'm trying to think about what am I going to tell her, right? And I think that's a culture that you always have to focus on listening, seek to understand, right? And then formulate your idea and respond. And I love that you actually highlighting the importance of it. In a world that often rewards performance, productivity, hustling, and sacrificing, how do we give our permission to go deeper inside?
Well, I guess how do we give permission, or how does someone feel the cost of being disconnected from themselves. I do feel like people have a sense of missing something and they don't know what to do with their missing, or they're longing for deeper contact, but they don't have context for it, so they don't understand it. And when they don't know what to do with their missing, they tend to do things to numb themselves or distract themselves or sedate themselves, and then it keeps the hamster wheel going. I think that we all need education that there is something deeper inside of us to connect to, so it gives people hope and a direction. I think without the information, what do you do with your missing? Or what do you know, you don't know what to do, and that's part of why I want this work to come out, is because there's very clear charts, there's very clear pathways. It's operational, it's not like out in the field somewhere where you can't know what to do. There are very practical steps how you can have access to this energy inside of you and to the stillness and presence where there's great reward. I always say there's like such a huge treasure house inside of us to behold. And so I think part of it is doing the work ourselves so we can be certain of it, so we can help other people know that it's worth it. We need living examples of people that have done it before or know it's possible. And I think as a leader, if you're leading a team, I think it's important that you regulate your own nervous system because your team will follow your lead. So it's important that you're resting, that you're pausing, that you're doing self-care, that you're valuing your life, and other people will begin to value theirs. I believe if we're rested, we will still produce, but we'll be happier. And I think we'll have happier employees and happier culture and more engaged. And yeah, it's all that all together.
I really love the fact that you're talking about a leader who actually uh, not only about think about themselves or what how their energy work, and also think about other people, because that's truly what's needed in this world now. That's not just about producing, because at the end of the day, your happy employee will produce even more because
Yes.
they're engaged. The time that they're working on, they're 100% engaged, and they're just not lost and confused and just drained and don't know what to do, because there are times I've seen people like that. They're running on what I call running on empty. Some people say
Yes.
they're running on Duncan. That's just some people are running on empty.
But both are the same in a way. Dunkin' is just a replacement for emptiness, right?
Exactly. If there's one lesson that you want people to remember from today's episode, what would that be?
Your life is happening inside of you. I know we're experiencing the outside world, but someday we're going to say goodbye to the outside world. And it's almost like building your own internal bank account by accessing the treasure that's inside of you. It's worth it, honestly. I wouldn't tell you if it wasn't. I'm gonna be 73. I'm very youthful and vital. I have a lot of energy. It's because I have access to this self-renewing energy. And I think the other thing I want to say, we are already whole and holy. We don't have to earn it. And when we're working so hard to produce for the world and trying to get feedback from the world that we're enough or we're good enough or whatever it is, we're missing the fact that we don't have anything to prove. It's already inside of us. We are already whole and holy. And that's what I would like to leave the listeners with today.
That's a powerful message, to Sam. If my audience wants to reach out to you, what's the best way to reach out to you?
If you go to my website, unifyingsolutions.com, there's a way to book a complimentary coaching session. Also at the top, you can click on the book portal. The book portal is alive right now, and you can interact with it. We have journaling prompts, meditations, lots of great material on there. And then if you want, on October 15th, you can get, most of you will probably not be in Columbus, Ohio, but you can live stream the book and documentary premiere. And I'd love to have you be part of the journey.
Congratulations on your
Thank you.
upcoming book, Deeper Than That. Thank you very much for being a guest on my podcast. I really appreciate your time today.
Thank you, Will. It's been great being with you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.